Here we are on section 7.6. We're going to take a look at some problems from 7.6. Let's start with question number 17. Because there's a radical in the question, I want to get that term by itself, so I'm going to move the x to the other side, giving me negative square root of 4 minus 3x equals negative x minus 8. We can do one of two things at this point. We can multiply the whole equation by negative 1. A lot of people don't like dealing with all those negatives because everything is negative. But if we square both sides, we can do it without that extra step. So I'm going to square both sides. And when you square a binomial, you have to FOIL. First step is always to get the radical by itself. When I square the side, negative times negative is positive. Radical squared, opposite operation. So I get 4 minus 3x. On this side, when I FOIL it out, negative x times negative x is positive x squared. Outside times outside gives me positive 8x. Inside times inside gives me positive 8x. And last times last gives me positive 64. Because this is a quadratic, we're going to want to get one side to equal 0. And then we're going to factor. So by subtracting 4 and adding 3x, I get 0 on the left side. I get x squared. 8, 8, and 3 gives me 19x. 16 plus 3 is 19x. And over here, 64 minus 4 is 60. When we go to factor this, if we remember our factoring days a few chapters ago, or last chapter, we know that we're looking for factors of 60 that add up to 19. I'm going to start my list with 15 and 4. And I get x plus 15, x plus 4, and then my zeros would be at negative 15 and negative 4. Because we squared both sides in the process of solving this, we have to check for extraneous roots. Let's put it back into our original question. Right here's our original, so that's the one we plug it back into. If I put in negative 15, I get negative 15. Negative 3 times negative 15 is positive 45. Plus 4 is 49. Minus 7, square root of 49 is 7. So I get negative 5 minus 7 is negative 22. Negative 22 is not the same as negative 8. So this one is an extraneous root. Let's try number negative 4 in there and see if that one works. If I put in a negative 4, negative 3 times negative 4 gives me positive 12, plus 4 is 16, square root of 16 is 4. I get negative 4 minus 4 is negative 8. That one works. That's why we have to check our answers every time we get done with one. Let's try the next one, number 18. It says 2x plus the square root of x plus 1 equals 8. Just like in the last one, we want to get a radical by itself before we square both sides. So I'm going to subtract the 2x from both sides. Now I have the radical by itself. And I'm going to rewrite it as negative 2x plus 8. And I'm going to square both sides. And when I square a binomial, that means that I'm going to FOIL. So I'm going to rewrite it twice. On this side, squared, square root, opposite operations, they go away. I get x plus 1. On this side, when I FOIL it, negative times negative gives me positive 4x squared. Outside times outside gives me negative 16x. Inside times inside gives me negative 16x. And last times last gives me 64. If I minus the x and minus the 1 to get one side to equal 0, I get 0 equals 4x squared, negative 33x, and plus 63. All right, so the next thing that we have to do is we have to, I take 63 times 4 which gives me 12,252. So I'm looking for factors of 252 that add up to negative 33. Very difficult. Why don't I see if I can come up with that? 33. So if I factor this into 12 or negative 12 and negative 21, that adds up to negative 33, and that multiplies to give me 252. So I'm going to split my middle term into negative 12x, negative 21x, plus 63, and then I'm going to factor by grouping. And first one, I'm going to factor out a 4x, leaving me with x minus 3. The second one looks like I can pull out a negative 21, leaving me with an x minus 3. And so I get 4x minus 21, oops, not 12, 21, and x minus 3. So my two zeros are going to be 21 fourths and 3. Well, the next thing that we have to do is we have to plug this back into the original to see if it's an extraneous root. So if I go down here and take 21 fourths times 2 times 21 fourths, plus 20 square root of 21 fourths plus 1, which would be 4 fourths. So I get, this simplifies to 2 times this gives me 21 halves, plus 25 fourths square rooted is 5 halves, gives me 26 halves, which is 13. Is that equal to 8? Nope. So this one's an extraneous root. And if I put in 3, 2 times 3 is 6, 3 plus 1 is 4, square root is 2. Is 6 plus 2 equal to 8? Yes, it does. So this one is not an extraneous root. That's how you do these. Good luck.